So this is the box that the light comes in, and you can see here on the back there's some specifications as well. You can go through and pause the video here if you want to check it out. Two different versions you can get, one with the standard base charger and one with the case charger. So that one actually charges the light on the fly. So it's kind of, acts as a power bank for the light, whereas that one needs to be connected to a computer or some other power source. I got the version with the charging case. I recommend that if you're going on extended trips and you just want the convenience of being able to continually charge up this light on the go. I think it probably be able to charge the light up 3 to 4 times. You also get one of these lanyards in the pack, and the cool thing about it, it's basically used to charge the station here, but you've got USB-C to USB-C hidden away in there, and it's also got an Apple adapter, hidden Apple adapter in here that you can pull out and use as well. So a while ago, I actually made a review of the initial prototype version, and I had a lot of feedback to provide to Wuben. Other reviewers also provided some feedback, just ways that we could improve the final release model, and I've been really happy with this final version. They've taken on feedback, and I'm going to go through what those changes are. So here they are side by side. I've got the prototype here on the left and the final release version here on the right, and I think we'll start with the charging case. And the big difference, of course, is it's been upgraded to aluminum. Okay, so a lot more durable. There's a slight design change as well here to the hinge. The hinge of this prototype version just had a couple of pins there, and I found that this would fall off at times. It's just not the most durable design, but this one here, much better. You've got this, got a proper hinge there at the back, opens up fully as well, kind of comes out the back. There's more of a cutout here that extends off to the back of the case as well. Another thing is this light at the bottom, the charging indicator light's been changed a touch. So if you got to kind of press this one, and you got two lights here, kind of a bit confusing. Also just doesn't turn off unless you keep clicking it a few times. This one here just has one light, goes from blue to red, flashy blue, if it's starting to discharge, just to let you know when you need to charge the case. And it also turns off automatically as well. So I find that one does not turn off in the old case, and that was bothering me. I wasn't sure whether it was draining battery on its own. You can see as well this diffuser here, so you can actually use the case as a diffuser, have the light in there, make some soft white light, and there's a bit of a change. There's no kind of this patterned vertical diffuser design. It's just a normal frosted white design there. It looks a bit more clean. I also find that in the new case, the X3 sits a little bit more snug inside. So a close-up of the prototype and the final release version, you can see the big difference in the TIR reflector is that there's this sort of frosted area in the center, whereas in the prototype there was a kind of clearer lens. So the big difference is that this one would throw a little bit further, but the beam profile just wouldn't look as nice as this one here with the frosted lens. I found that the beam of the prototype, especially for the red LED, was very squarish. Cosmetic changes as well. The screws are just color matched to the bezel. Change in the position of the writing underneath the light as well. You've still got those two magnets, but a change with the final release version is that there looks to be two copper contacts here for those of you who purchase the normal base charging station version. It can make contact with the bottom and charge that way. Another couple of important changes. So as you can see on the newer version, the seal here makes complete contact all the way around. This is really important for waterproofing. This was an issue on the prototype version where there was too much pressure from this clip essentially pulling the back off, so it wasn't making contact in the center. There's an issue with water potentially getting in there, so Wuben have added 2 additional screws and that's fixed the problem. And also they've decreased the thickness of the clip. It's probably a little tricky to see here on camera, but the clip is thinner on the new version, but still very strong and rigid. It's just, yeah, with the old version you've got very, very rigid clip there. So one of the issues that was mentioned in the prototype is that this LED viewing screen was kind of cut off around the edges, a bit difficult to see. You'd have to rotate it around to see. Yeah, just the different bits of writing in there. But on the newer version, the final release version, you can see it's centered better. Okay, so the contents of the screen fits nicely, just perfectly in there, really. There was also an issue with the prototype version, which would get stuck on charging 95%. It would just keep showing 95% for hours on end. But there's no issue on the final release version. Hits 95. After 10 minutes, it goes to 100 and turns off. I also found that the head of the newer version is a little harder to turn around. You can still do it with one hand, as you can see there, but it's definitely firmer than this prototype version, which you could just flick around a lot more easily. There are so many features in this light, I don't even know where to start, but I guess I'll start with a case. And I opted for the glow-in-the-dark version as it adds an additional function to the light. Here's a little demo of what the case looks like after I've just charged it a little bit with another flashlight. You can charge up the case with the flashlight, with another flashlight like this. Okay. It's during the daytime here in Melbourne, so it's not going to be as obvious. The body of the light is made of polycarbonate, whereas the head is made of aluminum. You can also get this light in two other colors, blue and black. Wuben have marketed the X3 as an EDC flashlight, and the fact that it only weighs 70 grams makes it so easy to carry around. You can clip it into your pocket, your bag strap, on your bag strap or something like that, and you're not going to be able to feel it at all. The head of the light rotates 180 degrees, okay? And this allows you to use the light as a traditional flashlight, forward facing like this, okay? Or you can turn it this way, clip it into your pocket or on your belt clip, something like that, and have it facing forwards for hands-free use. There's two TIR lenses on this flashlight, and they're quite interesting because there's some kind of metallic coating on the back of each lens, which increases the throw. But that frosted center, it just evens out the beam a little bit more, but still produces a distinct hot spot in the center, as well as that 180 degree beam angle, so you can see well into your peripherals. The left LED here is the LH351D. It's a high CRI LED for color recognition. The LED here on the left is the LH351D. It's a high CRI LED, which is going to help you recognize colors well in the dark. The one on the right here is an SST10, red 650 nanometers. The light is operated by this switch on the head. You've also got this magnetic base, okay, which is great for hands-free use. And of course, the fact that you've got this wireless charging, the easiest way to charge the light, just stick it in there and it immediately starts charging. So basically, it only starts charging when the voltage is at a certain point. So it will detect actually when the light needs to be charged or not. Otherwise, it just sits in there, doesn't do anything, even if you switch on the light itself. This is the light inside the case with the diffuser on the front, so that you can use that as well for close quarters, or if you don't want the sort of harsh beam that you get. Alrighty, I'm going to demonstrate the UI, just show you how to use the light. So in order to lock the light, you click this button 4 times. Okay, 4 times, and you see there's like a little lock symbol there. This wasn't an option on the prototype, and so you'd always have an issue just worrying the light would switch on accidentally in your pocket or something like that. So 4 clicks again will switch that light on, and set it to the lowest mode, so the 1 lumen mode. Okay, 3 clicks allows you to access strobe. Okay, 3 clicks also off, works for strobe. In order to access all the different modes, you just have to press the light, press that switch once. It remembers previous modes as well. So if I switch it off, switch it on, see it remembers that 50 lumens mode, 150 lumen mode, remembers that. Doesn't remember turbo though. So switch that back on. So in order to access turbo, basically double press from off, 700 lumens, or you can have the light on and then double press to access turbo. Okay, goes back to that previous mode that it was on before. In order to access the red LED, you press and hold, okay, and goes to the last mode that you had in red. So that's just 1 lumen, press and hold again, you get 80 lumens. In the prototype version, there was this sort of blinky 20 lumen blinky mode that's been removed. Another cool feature is that this light has some blue auxiliary LEDs. So you click this button 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have this sort of effect there, which is quite amazing in the dark, especially. Super cool. So I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests. This first one was with the white LED, the LH351D on turbo, and you can see as soon as I activated turbo, it steps down immediately after 30 seconds to 1/3 of its output. I've tried to activate the turbo mode again just before the 3-minute mark, spikes upwards, then goes back down again to about 1/3 of its output where it remains. I ran a second ceiling bounce test with the LH351D, 150 lumens, which is the highest of all the step modes in there, and it's able to sustain 95 to 100% of its output. So that's a really good sign. So I ran a third ceiling bounce test here with the red LED, the SST10, and put it onto the 80 lumen mode. It goes down immediately to just about 1/3, or just above 1/3 of its output where it remains. Try to activate 80 lumens again, goes up and then goes down. So you do get these spikes of output. You do have that power where you need it, but it doesn't really last for all that long. Here are some measurements that I took with my Opal Light Master Pro, and you can see here on the turbo mode with the LH351D, I got 78 meters of throw. Color rendering index was impressive, so 95 to 96. And the CCT was more on the warm end, 4,600 to 4,700K. On the red LED, I managed to get 33 meters of throw. So some considerations if you're thinking about buying this flashlight. It does step down fast, as I mentioned, and you can see that in the runtime tests as well. There's not a whole lot of heat sinking on this light. Obviously, with the rotating head, it doesn't connect on to the body, which is made of polycarbonate. So that is basically the only thing that is heat sinking, that acts as a heat sink for the LEDs, but that comes with the benefit of the rotating head. And this light is quite conservative in terms of its lumen output. It's not the type of light that's going to produce 2000 lumens. It's still pretty bright, but it's more as an EDC general purpose flashlight. I also measured 78 meters of throw, which was short from the 102 meters on the spec sheet. That might be due to my light meter, as I'm not using professional equipment. Another thing is that the LED display does not switch off automatically to preserve power. I don't think it consumes too much power, but it's just something that bugged me a little bit. But it's good that you can switch off the auxiliary LEDs if you need to. So overall, the Wuben X3 is probably the most unique flashlight that I've seen out there. It's packed full of various features, functions. Great example if you want to see what a modern flashlight is capable of. It's very practical as well, especially with that charging case. So if you're interested in getting this flashlight, I've left a link in the description that you can check out. If you have questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. And if you like this video, you found it helpful, do me a favor and click the like button because it helps me to get it out to more people. And if you want to see more reviews like this, make sure you subscribe. The Wuben X3, the final release version, and let's just start it off on the lowest mode. You can't even really see that on camera. It's a few meters ahead, 1 lumen. Okay, this is the 50 lumen mode. Okay, this is pretty good for just seeing up ahead. Probably about 5 to 10 meters. Okay, got some good visibility there, but yeah, you can see it sort of tint those. Can you see that? Just sort of tint that center section of those shrubs, but that's about it. Up again, Okay, 150 lumens. 150 lumens. Okay, so this is getting a little bit better in terms of being able to illuminate that field. Okay, but we're not really there yet. But this is really good for, I guess, a long sustained output. If you just using it as a walking light, this is really great. I can see very well up into that field ahead, just where the grass is, probably not beyond, but where all the grass is, the trees. Okay, it's difficult to see here in camera. And that is the 700 lumen mode. Okay, and as you can see, like much better, you can see into that field, but it does ramp down pretty quickly, so you can tell at the moment it is ramping down, and pretty much goes back to that high mode that we had before, that 150 lumen mode, or even just marginally brighter than that. Okay, but again, you can turn off the light, activate turbo again, and get another burst of that turbo. Okay, and I'm actually glad that Wuben does configure the driver to ramp down the output early on, because this light does heat up a fair bit. The rotatable head, it's just something that you have to keep in mind. It's just not as much heat sinking as there is on a normal flashlight, but where you need the extra power, it's definitely there, as you can see. Amazing. I'll just keep on reactivating it, but the head is getting a little warm. Okay, let's just switch over to this red mode now. Now this mode is on 80 lumens, and as you can see, I'm able to hit those little trees, or little bushes, sorry, shrubs up ahead. Okay, but again, it does ramp down pretty quickly as well. Okay, the 1 lumen mode is really not even visible really here on camera. I can see it here on the ground. It's great for maybe like a close-up light, but that's about it. Okay, let's put that back on that 80 lumen mode again, and there you go. So good as if you don't want such a harsh kind of white walking light as you've got here, okay, and you just want something a bit more subdued and easier on the eyes, don't want to ruin your night vision, this is great. Got the Wuben X3, this is 1 lumen, can't really see much here on the ground. Bump it up to 50 lumens, so even at 50 lumens this is pretty decent. You can see this trail going up ahead in the distance here in the field. This is more than enough to see, pretty much see where you're going, and there's a lot of ambient light around here. It's not completely dark, even though it's about 9:30 here in Melbourne. 150 lumens, and this is sustainable output as well. So this, I mean, this is perfect. Nice diffused beam, but the center of the beam has, it's just got more concentrated, a bit more concentration in lumens. So you can see a bit further down that trail. If you need it, whoops, if you need it, you have yourself turbo. 700 lumens, just in case. put it on that red mode, 80 lumens. Some significant amount of light, and it's kind of a bit more calming for some reason. I guess because you're just blasted with so much light. But you can see all the way kind of into the back of that trail there, still some decent area. One lumen mode here, you can sort of see it here in the front, but it's difficult. I would say that's only just maybe for reading up close or something like that. Maybe in a tent. 80 lumens on the red mode.